For most of my life, my sister has been wanting kids, but has been unable to carry a baby to full term in part due to endometriosis. She was in a lot of pain and had to have a hysterectomy. My sister and her husband have fostered 5 children and have adopted 2 children with autism and are great parents. They have a good home environment and are financially very well off, but they've had the urge to have a kid biologically related to them. So they asked me to be their surrogate and said that they would cover all costs associated with it. They would also be paying off my student debt, renting a 2-bedroom apartment for 3 years, plus giving me a substantial amount of cash. I said sure. Around a year ago, my husband anxiously sat me down and told me he had discovered he had a long-lost daughter. According to him, he had an ex he got pregnant as a teenager, but she moved away before she started showing and without telling him. She gave birth and kept his daughter a secret from him. Eventually, she put Kat up for adoption. Kat now tracked him down and wanted to get to know him. As I am unable to conceive on my own, I was very enthusiastic and encouraging of them meeting. I asked him about DNA testing or speaking to the mother or adoptive parents. He told me all of that would come in due time, but based on the details she shared with him, he was 90% sure she was his biological daughter. Therefore, my husband and I have been struggling a bit financially because we're saving up to purchase a new apartment. He is used to eating fast food when he went to work, and he would spend more than $300 a month, which is about $20 daily. I talked to him about it, and he agreed that I would make him sandwiches for him to take to work. Everything was going well, and I noticed he wouldn't respond when I asked whether he liked the sandwiches I made, but kept asking me to make more than 2 since he was always hungry. Yesterday, he came home with some friends and coworkers, and we sat at a dinner table when his friend brought up the sandwiches. He said they're delicious, but they're a bit pricey. I was confused, so I asked him to explain, and he said I'm 29 weeks pregnant with the baby boy. My husband and I were really excited when we found out because a few years ago we suffered from an unfortunate loss of our baby at 24 weeks. Our baby just wasn't developing correctly and there was nothing we could do. It was just one of those sad things. I went to therapy for it and came to terms with it, but my husband never did. As much as I asked and begged, he didn't go. Now, every time we go to a doctor appointment, he essentially has a panic attack talking about how we're going to lose this baby too. It's been happening since I found out I was pregnant, so it's been 29 weeks of this. After my last appointment while coming home, my husband told me we should start considering. My sister-in-law and I have an agreement where she watches the kids 3 days a week and I watch hers 3 days a week. A couple of weeks ago, we had an argument, and the next day I brought my kids to her house and dropped them off and left. When I got to work, I had 20 missed calls, all from my sister-in-law saying I need to pick up the kids because she doesn't want to watch them due to our fight. And I had 45 minutes to get there or else she'll call the cops. It took me about an hour to get back to her house, but she already called the cops, so I had to stick around long enough to tell the officer that I didn't abandon my children. It was just miscommunication. I have since arranged for other childcare for my kids and I've been mostly ignoring her. However, she reached out and apologized.